Hey everyone, happy Thursday, October 5th. It's about 10 a.m. on the West Coast and time for another market update. It's jobs week, very important. We know the Fed's paying very close attention to the labor market, so a lot of big reports to go over. But first, going back to last Friday, we got the August PCE inflation numbers, and this is still important. Inflation's been coming down, but we still have work to do, and we know the Fed's main goal is to get inflation down. So although they seem more focused on labor right now, we still these inflation reports are still very important. So August came in, just kind of like the CPI and the PPI reports, where the headline number that includes gas and food went up, where the core number went down. And the Fed says right now, at least, that the one they find the most important is the core. And as you see this quote from Powell, they remain strongly committed to bringing inflation back down to their 2% goal. So we're at 3.9%. It dropped from 4.4 last month to 3.9. So it's headed in the right directions, but still about 2% to go. If we factor in some lag on shelter and things like that, we get closer to our goal, but still not at that 2%. So very important that we see these numbers continue to go down, because that way hopefully the Fed backs off on their rate hikes. Next thing we got, like I said, jobs week. So going in order, starting the jobs openings report, JOLTS report. The purple, magenta, reddish line right here, that's the JOLTS. Blue is an Indeed, how they kind of track their job openings. But as you see, it kind of went up. It was supposed to come in about 8.8. It came in at 9.6, up from last months of 8.92. So, but as you can see, it's kind of been spiking here and there and then continuing down. So overall trend is still down. But we'd like to see this number come in lower. And then the other thing to keep in mind too is that it's been shown that there's quite a few duplicates get picked up in this report, because they're picking up, if your company was hiring for the same position and they were offering that position remotely in different states, it would pick up each posting as an individual job. And also companies are starting to use the same different titles for the same job to get different applicants when they post them on these job sites. So those are being picked up as well. So good reason to believe these numbers are inflated, but it doesn't really matter because the market's freaked out and everybody's worried that the Fed's going to see something like this and say, hey, the labor market's great and we can continue to hike. So next one we got was ADP. So ADP's private payroll, this one came in our favor. This is for September, where the JOLTS was for August. So a month ahead, so maybe a forward-looking, compared to the JOLTS. It came in at 89K. It was supposed to come in a little bit less than twice that, I believe. Mainly, hospitality made the gains. Annual pay increases are still higher than we'd like to see, but are moderating, which is good. And the chief economist for the ADP said, we are seeing a steepening decline in jobs this month and a steady decline in wages in the past 12 months. So that's all good stuff. And the markets reacted positively to this, not completely offsetting the JOLTS on Tuesday, but when this came out yesterday, this definitely helped the bond market. And then today we got challenger job cuts. And what the challenger job cut showed was that, from December January, this beginning of this year through September, so the first 3 quarters, it's the biggest number of job cuts since 2020. And in fact, if you take out 2020, which was a COVID year, which you should take out, it's actually the biggest number of cuts in the first 3 quarters since 2009. So that kind of came in our favor as far as showing some weakening, on the corporate level with job cuts, as far as the job market goes. Next one we got today was job claims. Job claims has been coming in lower, just showing that how resilient the job market is, how employers don't want to lay off employees in fear that they won't get them back. And that was expected to be about 210,000 claims. It came about 207,000. So not a big miss, but enough that not a positive either for everything we're looking at. Miscellaneous stuff. So more appreciation gains. So let's take a look at that. So as we can see, CoreLogic and Black Knight joining Zillow, went up again in August. So according to CoreLogic, about 0.3% gains in August across country in appreciation for homeowners, and Black Knight up 0.7%. Both of those now are on 8% 2023 paces. So all good news for homeowners. Bad news for people that decided to stay on the sidelines at the beginning of the year or last year, because homeownership continues to be a great investment. As far as 8%, that's a good gain. $8,000 for every $100,000 your house is worth. So that's a good percentage, and just another reminder that waiting for home prices to drop generally doesn't turn out well. Next thing we got was the average 30-year conventional creeped up from 7.65 to 7.69 this morning. That's actually down. I think the high point it got to yesterday or the day before was 7.74. So definitely heading in the wrong direction. And depending on how that BLS jobs report goes tomorrow, that number can go either direction. If that report is a big miss for us, where unemployment, which they expected the rate to drop a little bit, if there's less if it comes in favor of the Fed, then we can see that number jump above 8% possibly. Just because the markets are really looking at this, and as you can see, this is the last big job report until the Fed's last meeting. Right now, the markets are saying 75% chance the Fed does not hike, on November 1st, 25% they do. But again, if this BLS is a big number, then we could see that flip. And then the only other real big inflation report or anything we get between now and that meeting is CPI. But there's going to be all these unemployment claims prior to that. So fingers crossed tomorrow that number comes in. Maybe the unemployment rate stays where it's at. I believe 3.8, or maybe that there's more job. Basically in our favor. We really need one of these come in our favor. These BLS jobs reports have been really not a positive for us over the last year or so. So fingers crossed. Besides that, like I said, there is some downside to waiting. There's, even if rates do drop right now, there's going to be a lot more demand and just basic supply and demand. That's going to make prices go even higher. So, everybody's situations can be differently. If you're a borrower, if you're a realtor, that's obviously you guys got to think about that. Talk to your clients about that. As far as, hey, we don't like the rate right now, but you can get the house you want. You can get seller credits. Next year might be more expensive, that kind of thing. And obviously the realtor is going to be an expert for the area and where home prices should be, going forward. So anybody needs anything at all, please don't hesitate to reach out, and I'd be more than happy to help. Have a great day, everybody.